Monday, April 22nd, a normal day when students finished school and were leaving now ends in tragedy. One student made the uneducated and unfortunate decision to text and drive. The result of his choice leads to the scene that is in front of you. Boone Bonema is driving the gray Pontiac, which has heavy front end damage, and Meg Morehouse is the front seat passenger of his vehicle. Claire Mewson is driving the white Hyundai, which contains another student who had no idea their day would end up like this. Boone was traveling down the road and crossed the center line on 100th Avenue near Riley Street, striking Claire's vehicle. Unfortunately, it became clear to Boone that Boone was sending a text message to his mother asking if Meg could come over for dinner that night. He was doing this while he was driving.
Ottawa County 911, what is your emergency?
I need to report a car accident.
Okay, what is the location of the accident?
I think we're at the intersection of 100th and Riley by the high schools.
Okay, how many vehicles are involved?
There's two cars. One car crossed the center line and crashed head-on into another car. I think they might be students.
Okay, is anyone hurt?
Yes, there's a person lying on the ground and he's not moving. I think he went through the windshield and there's others still trapped in the car.
Okay, I have emergency units en route now. They should be there shortly.
Okay, please hurry.
Central Dispatch to Sergeant Vandenbosch, Deputy Feliciano, copy a personal injury crash with a pin-in. We'll be at 100th Avenue just south of Riley. Callers reporting numerous injuries, one person ejected from the vehicle.
At this time, 911 dispatch will remain on the line with the witnesses and continue to gather more information about the accident to relay to emergency units. The first officer that arrive will assess the scene and look for any hazards that may affect the rescue efforts. These include downed power lines, leaking gas, fire, or anything else that may injure the rescue workers or prevent them from immediately attending to the victims. After this, he will check on the injured and start to render first aid. The officer will then contact dispatch to make sure the fire department, ambulance, and other necessary equipment has been contacted and are en route to the scene.
Holland Township Fire Department, Zeeland Township Fire Department, Zeeland City Fire Department, and AMR Ambulance respond to the scene of the personal injury crash. Multiple injuries, one person ejected.
After Sergeant Vandenbosch assesses the first victim, he advises that this is a fatal accident and moves on to assist other victims who are in need of help at the scene. At this point, he would also call for additional police units to assist in the accident investigation. Once the fire department and ambulance arrive, police will brief emergency units on the victim's injuries and assist with first aid. Other officers will then move into their role as crowd control and accident investigation. The fire department begins to assist the rescue units with first aid and renders aid to other victims involved in the accident. The fire department will also use any necessary tools in order to free the occupants from inside of the vehicle who are currently pinned in.
Central Dispatch to AeroMed Flight Service.
AeroMed 904, go ahead.
If you could also respond to the scene, Zeeland Township will be directing you in.
10-4, physician loading now. We are at liftoff in less than 1 minute.
Copy, less than 1 minute.
The first victim assessed was Kyle Headley. Kyle was in the front seat passenger, and he was not wearing a seatbelt. Upon impact, he was thrown through the windshield. His body was still moving at 55 miles per hour, and it slammed into the other car. He is unconscious, unresponsive. There's nothing first responders can do. Kyle has no pulse or blood pressure. Kyle's injuries are fatal. The first responders on scene request a medical examiner for Kyle Headley. In cases of fatal accidents, a medical examiner arrives to the scene to complete an investigation regarding the exact cause of death and pronounces that time of death. An officer will also respond to assist with the deceased family and notify them of the incident in person. Victims' advocates are requested to assist the deceased family members in their great time of loss. By this point, Intimus Funeral Home has been requested to respond to the scene to send to the deceased. The most critically injured is Meg Morehouse. Meg was a front seat passenger of Boone's vehicle. She was not wearing a seatbelt. At the time of the impact, Meg's body folded over itself. Her head struck the dash and broke the side window, causing a deep head laceration and uncontrollable bleeding. Meg has a decreased level of consciousness, and she feels the pain of broken bones grazing against each other each time she breathes. A second critically injured occupant is identified as Claire Mewson. Claire was the driver of the white vehicle. Upon impact, she was thrown towards the steering wheel in front of her. Her face and head struck first, causing her neck to snap back as the weight of her body landed forward. This movement injured her spine, causing her to be paralyzed, and she has deep, sustained facial lacerations that she'll carry with her for the rest of her life. Police identify the driver of the at-fault vehicle as Boone Bonema. He has sustained minor cuts and bruises. Police suspect that Boone was distracted by using his cell phone while driving. While we're on scene, Boone is arrested for moving violation causing death and serious injury. After the investigation is complete, which will take hours, the vehicles will be loaded up by Romines Towing and taken to a secured setting where the traffic investigators will continue the investigation. After all of the physical pain and suffering which people involved in this accident have endured, they must also deal with the pain of losing a classmate and friend. Boone will now face charges for moving violation causing the death of Kyle Headley and the serious injuries to Claire Mewson and Meg Morehouse. Boone is now facing time in prison. While the investigators are on scene, they hear the familiar noise of the AeroMed helicopter. They're doing everything they can to frantically save the lives of those that are injured. However, they know that soon AeroMed will land. Inside that life-saving device is essentially an ER room equipped with a physician and advanced trained nurses who will take the most seriously injured back to Butterworth Spectrum. As the helicopter lands, it is our sincere hope that we have made a difference here today in the decisions you make involving texting and driving or any other distractions while you're driving. Think before you pick up that phone. It can wait. That text may be the goodbye to a friend, a family member, or a classmate. For those in attendance, AMR was going to check the flight service, was going to stay for us to take a look inside. However, a real life injury accident overrode that, and they had to leave for that. At this point, Eintemas has arrived to the scene and will soon be removing the body of Kyle Headley to take it to the funeral home. His family, friends, and all that know him will mourn him for a very long time for a decision that was 5 seconds in the making. As we watch the body of Kyle Headley being loaded into that hearse, we, as first responders, want you to walk away from here today understanding that this is very real and the possibility is very real. A young life was shattered over a question to a mother, which could have taken 30 seconds to pull over or done at a later time. Please make the right decisions as it involves your driving each day.